You think you're looking at the world, a chair, a tree, your reflection in the mirror. You think it's real, that what your eyes show you is truth. But what if it isn't? What if your entire life, every moment, every color, every face, isn't reality at all, but just a user interface designed for survival? This isn't science fiction. This is cognitive neuroscience. Donald Hoffman, professor at UC Irvine, ran the models. He didn't start as a mystic. He started as a mathematician. He asked a single, terrifying question. Did evolution shape us to see the truth? And what he found broke the paradigm. In every simulation they ran, species that saw reality accurately went extinct. But the species that saw only what they needed to survive, they thrived. In other words, if you see a ripe fruit and it looks delicious, it doesn't matter what it is. It matters only that your brain encodes it as edible. You survive. You pass on your genes. The illusion wins. So what does that mean for you? It means your senses don't show you the truth. They show you a lie that keeps you alive. Just like the icons on your computer desktop, you don't open your Photoshop file by reaching into the hard drive. You click a pretty icon. The icon is not the truth. It's a metaphor for something far more complex. Hoffman calls this the interface theory of perception. And once you understand it, the ground beneath your life begins to crack. Because everything you think is real, objects, colors, time, space, are not reality. They are icons on your consciousness, and reality itself is something you've never directly seen and never will. We evolved to see just enough to eat, reproduce, and avoid danger. Your senses are not calibrated for truth. They are calibrated for usefulness. What's read to you may not even exist in the external world. What's solid to you is 99.9999% empty space. What you call now already happened milliseconds ago. Your brain is just catching up. You aren't seeing the world. You're seeing a hallucination your brain agrees on with other humans. You think this is terrifying. Hoffman doesn't. He calls it liberating, because it means you're not stuck in a cold material machine. You're swimming inside something far stranger, a reality that isn't out there, but one that emerges through consciousness. So let's pause. The wall in front of you, the sound in your ears, the name you carry, the face you call yours. What if all of it, every last pixel, is just a skin over the infinite, a simplified shortcut, a protective illusion? And if that's true, what else are you mistaking for real? The person you think you are doesn't exist, and science can prove it. You've spent your entire life trying to be someone. You've chased identity, constructed personality, polished a self-image, tried to be confident, consistent, whole. But what if that self you're trying to become doesn't actually exist? What if the person you think you are, the one you describe in job interviews, dating profiles, inner monologues, is just another illusion? Freud suspected it. Carl Jung mapped it. Modern neuroscience confirms it. There is no single, stable you, no core personality behind your eyes, no fixed self pulling the strings, just a stream of shifting patterns, roles, and reactions, held together by memory and narrative. Your brain constructs a story, a neat, coherent autobiography, so you can wake up each day and pretend you know who you are. But under pressure, in grief, in love, in rage, that story falls apart. Because the truth, you are not one person, you are many. Neuroscience calls it the modular mind. Different parts of the brain activate in different contexts, often arguing with each other. The part of you that wants to diet is different from the part of you that craves dessert. The part of you that falls in love is not the same part that calculates risk. And when you make a decision, your brain doesn't make it first. Your body does. Then your mind rushes in to make up a story afterward. You are not the author. You are the PR team, hired after the fact to make it look like you're in control. Jung called this the persona, the social mask you wear to survive, to be accepted, to belong. It's not evil. It's not fake. It's necessary. But the problem begins when you mistake the mask for your face. When you think your job title is your worth. When you think your trauma is your identity. When you think the roles you play, partner, child, friend, define the depths of your being. But beneath all that, there's something else, something quieter, something you can't perform into existence. Jung called it the self, the totality of who you are, conscious and unconscious. The part of you that doesn't need validation, narrative, or control. But to meet it, you have to let go of the illusion of being a good person, the illusion of being consistent, the illusion of being someone. And that's terrifying, because you've built your whole life on the scaffolding of a self that never actually existed. But it's also the beginning of freedom, because if you were never truly you to begin with, you're free to become anything. You don't have to be who your past says you are. You don't have to carry the weight of your mistakes. You don't have to keep living out the story someone else wrote for you. You can rewrite the whole thing, because you're not a noun. You're a verb, not a self to discover, but a stream to step into. And every time you let go of the performance, you step closer to the truth, not the one in your bio, but the one beneath your bones. Even your memories are lying to you, and that's the real red pill. You think your memories are sacred, that they define who you are, that they're the one thing no one can take from you. But here's what the science says. They're not even yours, not in the way you think, because every time you recall a memory, you're not playing back a video, you're rewriting the script. Studies in cognitive neuroscience have proven it again and again. Memory is reconstructive, not reproductive. That moment you remember from childhood, you didn't pull it from a vault. You rebuilt it from fragments. Emotion, imagination, expectation, narrative. And every time you remember it, you distort it. The color changes, the dialogue shifts, the tone gets darker or lighter depending on your current mood. You don't remember what happened. You remember how it feels now. This means your past, the very foundation of your identity, isn't solid. It's plastic. It bends. It warps. It follows the story your current self needs it to follow. You're not a product of your past. You're a product of your storytelling. And storytelling can lie. Elizabeth Loftus, one of the world's most respected cognitive psychologists, has spent decades studying false memories. In one famous study, she was able to convince people they had been lost in a mall as a child. They believed it. They created emotional details. They cried over it. But it never happened. Their brain took a seed, a suggestion, and turned it into a truth. That's what memory does. It's not a filing cabinet. It's a painting, and your brush changes every time you pick it up. So, what does this mean for you? It means your greatest heartbreak might be embellished. Your most embarrassing moment might be fictionalized. Your core trauma might be real. But the version of it you're looping every night in your mind might not be true. And this isn't to gaslight you. This is to free you. Because if your memories aren't fixed, then neither is your pain, neither is your identity, neither is your shame. You can't trust every memory, but you can rewrite your relationship to them. This is what Jung called active imagination, the conscious revisiting of unconscious material, not to escape the past, but to reintegrate it, not as a victim, not as a martyr, but as the author. Because once you realize your memories are editable, you stop living in their prison and start painting a story that heals instead of haunts. So the next time your brain says, "This is who I am because of what happened," ask yourself, what if the memory is just a mirror? And what if the mirror is cracked? The world is a mirror, not a map. Why reality bends to your beliefs. You think you live in a world, a fixed place, with fixed people, fixed outcomes, a map you're walking through. But the truth is, you don't live in a map, you live in a mirror. And that mirror doesn't reflect reality, it reflects you. Carl Jung knew this. He said, everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. In other words, you don't see people as they are, you see them as you are. Your beliefs shape your lens. Your trauma bends the frame. Your nervous system highlights what confirms your story and deletes everything else. This is called confirmation bias, a psychological tendency to only notice evidence that supports what you already believe. If you believe people are cruel, you'll notice the one stranger who was rude, not the 10 who were kind. If you believe you're unlovable, you'll fixate on rejection and dismiss the friend who stayed. Your brain is not a camera, it's a filter, and it's always bending reality to make you feel right. But here's where it gets deeper. Modern neuroscience shows that expectation literally shapes perception. In studies of vision, researchers found your brain fills in over 80% of what you think you're seeing. Before your eyes even finish the job, you're not observing reality, you're predicting it, based on past experiences. That's why you can drive home on autopilot, why you can't remember what your partner just said, why you feel like you knew someone the moment you met them, even when you didn't, because your mind doesn't want reality, it wants familiarity. So, if your internal world is distorted, your external world will be too. If you carry unresolved wounds, you'll project them onto others. If you were abandoned, you'll see abandonment in every glance, every silence, every delay in text. If you feel unworthy, you'll interpret feedback as attack, distance as rejection, neutrality as coldness, and the worst part, you'll never know you're doing it, because to you, it won't feel like a projection, it will feel like the truth. But Jung offered a way out. He said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. The world isn't against you, it's showing you what's still unresolved, not to punish you, but to invite you inward, because life isn't a map to follow, it's a mirror to wake up in. That breakup? Mirror. That job loss? Mirror. That moment when you felt unseen, unheard, unloved. It wasn't just life, it was a reflection of the part of you still asking to be seen, still needing to be heard, still learning how to love itself, even when no one else does. So here's the real red pill. If your life feels like an illusion, it's not because reality is broken, it's because your inner world is the projector, and what you call reality is the screen. Why this illusion is the most beautiful lie ever told, and how to wake up without losing your mind. By now, maybe you feel it. The disorientation, the doubt, that whisper in your chest. If everything's an illusion, what's the point? But here's the twist. This illusion, the one you call reality, might be the most beautiful lie ever told. And it wasn't told to hurt you. It was told to protect you. Because awakening too fast, too early, without grounding, it doesn't liberate you, it shatters you. So life, God, the universe, consciousness, whatever you call it, offered a mask, a gentle interface, a simplified layer, a dream within which you could grow. And it wasn't meant to trap you, it was meant to prepare you. Alan Watts said it like this: the whole point of life is to play hide and seek with yourself. You are not here to escape the illusion. You are here to learn from it, to dance with it, to feel its textures, its ache, its ecstasy, until one day you laugh and say, "Ah, it was me the whole time." You see, the illusion isn't a prison, it's a playground. It's the sandbox where the infinite gets to experience limitation, where consciousness gets to feel what it's like to forget itself, to remember itself, to love itself through form. Because if you were born remembering that nothing is real, you'd never grow, never cry, never love, never choose. And choice, that sacred illusion of free will, is what gives life its meaning. But here's what happens as you begin to wake up. You stop blaming. You stop chasing. You stop clinging to every pixel of the simulation, because now you see the code, and when you see the code, you stop fighting the story and start writing your own. You don't deny the illusion, you respect it. You move through it with grace, knowing it's not the final truth, but it's the perfect training ground, a training ground for love, for surrender, for soul. You don't have to go off-grid to wake up. You don't need a guru. You don't need to transcend life. You just need to remember that the pain is real, but so is your power. That the chaos is real, but so is your capacity to stay centered within it. That the illusion is real, but so is the one watching it. And that is you, not the you your parents named, not the you your ego performs, but the awareness underneath it all, the silent observer, the witness behind the eyes, the presence behind the mask. This is what Jung called individuation, the process of becoming whole, not by escaping your humanity, but by embracing every part of it, the shadow, the light, the form, the formless. Because when you stop needing the illusion to be real, you start seeing it as it truly is, a mirror, a metaphor, a magnificent game of remembering. And now that you've seen it, there's no going back, only forward, only deeper, only inward. If this resonated, take a moment to subscribe. Drop a comment below, not for the algorithm, but to mark this chapter in your journey. If you made it this far, you're not just watching, you're remembering, returning, reclaiming your inner ground. So trust that the video YouTube shows you next, the one appearing now, is not random. It's the next doorway, the next layer, and it will meet you exactly where you are. We'll see you in the next depth. Depthoria continues.